Hello world, my name is Michaela Thomas, Mika for short, so that you guys aren't out there butchering my name. And if I can pull it together, then I can give you guys the reason why I'm recording this video today. So as everyone is aware, COVID-19 is running rampant all over the world, everywhere. We have the stay-at-home orders in effect. Truth be told, I feel like there's a statewide, maybe even a nationwide lockdown coming soon. But that's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, some of us are listening, some of us aren't. That's just what it is. And for those of us that are not listening, for those of us that are not essential workers, and for those of us who are out here just to be out here, you're putting lives at risk. Everybody's body is different and it reacts to viruses differently. Some have symptoms, some don't. However, with the shortage of tests, that's not something that we would know, which makes it more riskier. Anyway, at the end of the day, one underlying issue that's taking place that isn't really being spoken about is the issue with shared parenting agreements and custody orders. At this present time, there aren't any provisions for it, just because, of course, nobody ever plans for a pandemic. Yes, we had the warning signs months ago, maybe even years ago, with Chinese movies that were made talking about the coronavirus and all of that jazz. However, we're here in the present now, and there aren't any provisions for parents who have shared parenting agreements. If you haven't caught the gist of it, I am one of those parents. I have 3 children with an ex. They are twin girls and a very rambunctious son. However, I have, I've never withheld visitation from him just because the situation and relationship didn't work between he and I does not mean that he should not be parenting his children. Now, on the flip side, he is not the best to co-parent with. He's very irrational, very unreasonable. And it's not to bash him, it's honestly just stating facts. Quite honestly, we've been back and forth in court for the last 6 to 7 years. So if that doesn't tell you anything, what does? At the end of the day, my best interest or what I really give a damn about is what's in the best interest of my kids, period. Don't care what he's got going. Don't really care what anybody's got going. Don't even really give a damn what anybody has to think or say. When it comes to those 3, along with my other children, they are what matters. Now, I'll give you a little backstory on me. I'm 33 years old. I live in Ohio. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Some of you know my story, some of you don't. But for the ones that don't, my fiance and I have been together for almost 9 years. We have 2 children together. We basically have a little football team, to be honest. Between us, we have 10 kids. We also have, I guess you can say, off the record, adopted my 2 cousins. One is 18, he'll be 6 in May. And we all live under one roof. So you can imagine how fun that is. It's not without its quarrels. It's not without its drama. It's not without its, what families normally go through. However, at the end of the day, we are family. And we look out for each other. And we have each other's backs, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no stipulations to it. No nothing. We have each other's backs. Flat. So my reason for recording this video today is because there aren't any provisions for shared parenting, and custody agreements. Of course, there are issues, as I know some of you other parents who do have shared parenting agreements have come to find that we are still obligated to fulfill visitations and scheduled transfers of the kids. Now, that honestly contradicts the stay-at-home orders that we have. As of right now, there is no school. And I hate to say, honestly, I don't hate to say it. Sorry, not sorry. Visitations right now is non-essential. It's not that deep. It's just not. Especially when there are alternative methods to that other party, whether it be mom or dad, seeing the kids, spending that time with them, and being able to, still uphold that relationship. Hate it or love it, it is what it is. There's no sense in putting kids at further risk to, contracting the COVID-19 virus if it can be prevented. So I have created a petition, which I will upload the URL link for, and I will share it as well. And I encourage those parents who are currently dealing with this issue to sign it so that we can get it to where it needs to be, so that there can be some alternative methods implemented in what we currently have as agreements and arrangements until this COVID-19 is either A, completely over, or B, under control in some way, shape, or form. Numbers are rising by the day. Some doubling, some tripling, depending on where you live, and people are dying. I, for one, don't want my children to be on that list. I don't want your guys' children to be on that list either. Just because we had to fulfill an agreement that can be temporarily altered in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or time made up later with that other party. Now, unfortunately, I have a co-part who is not reasonable in any way, shape, or form. Our twins are immunocompromised. They were born 3.5 months early. So, of course, you can imagine all of the delays, all of the surgeries, treatments, everything that they've had to deal with since birth up to this point in dealing with their health, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I, yes, have withheld visitation. One day so far, just for a few hours, because honestly, it's not worth it. It's not worth their health. It's not worth their well-being. It's not worth it. Just to know, and I get it. Parents want their time. I get it. Believe me, I get it. I love my babies. I do. I love them. Drive me up the wall sometimes, yes, they do. But that means that they are doing their job. So I get, wanting to spend time with your kids, but sometimes if you are putting your kids in the forefront and not the back, then you'll understand why it's so important that kids not be, this virus is affecting kids too. It's affecting babies. Not just adults our age or our grandparents or our great-grandparents. It's affecting infants as well. And when we're sending them out here into the world and they're interacting with people, it's like a chain effect. It's like, someone sneezing in their hand and they're shaking your hand, and then you turn around and you're shaking 2 other people's hands. It spreads. This shit is spreading like wildfire. So when it comes down to these kids and their immune systems, especially the immunocompromised, it just makes it that much easier for them to contract the virus. I can't speak for other parents, but I can pretty much guarantee and tell you that these babies don't leave this house at all. And if I or my fiance ever have to leave here, we have a protocol, we have a routine that when we come in this house, clothes are off, we go take a shower, drink some warm water with lemon, clothes in the washer, whatever we need to do, and we don't allow our children to touch us until we have basically sanitized ourselves. I can't guarantee that other children are being quarantined when they go to their other party's house. I can't guarantee that they don't have company at their house, and that they're not. I know for sure my children are bouncing from house to house when they're with their father, and unfortunately that makes me uneasy as a parent, because you just never know. It's nothing personal against them. It's nothing personal against anybody. But when it comes to the health of your kids, baby, listen, you're going to do what needs to be done. And if I should have to take the consequences of the court because I chose to parent, so be it. Because nowadays, once we get that piece of paper and it's stamped and notarized, we are not parenting based off of moral or based off of love for our children. We're parenting based off of fear. Based off of fear that if we step outside of this agreement in any way, shape, or form, we're going to be right back in court being held under a contempt charge for what? Because we chose to parent? because we chose to put the best interest of our children first. Because when you step into the courtroom, it's not always about what's in the best interest of the children. It's about who can accommodate what parent the most. I don't care about none of that. If our children are failing, it's because us as parents have failed them. It's because we didn't and we couldn't put their best interest first. It's because we're going to a system who has no love for us in any way, shape, or form to help us decide how to be parents. We're a case number. We're a file number amongst thousands of others. We're seen for 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even half an hour to an hour. And we're having some stranger who don't know us from a can of paint tell us what we can and what we cannot do for our kids. That's the way the cookie crumbles. That's just what it is. If you're in a shared parenting and custody agreement and you have a counterpart who is reasonable and rational and puts the best interest of your child or of your children first, I commend you. Unfortunately, all of us parents, we don't have that luxury. Whether you be mama or daddy, it does not matter. We don't always have that luxury. We don't always have somebody who puts our children first. They're putting their emotion, their feelings, their personal feelings in the mix, and that causes a backlash on the kids. That affects them negatively. Because truth be told, a lot of y'all are still ass hurt. So at the end of the day, who's affected? But that's a whole nother video, y'all. Don't get me started. But anyway, I did create a petition. And like I said, I will share it. I will upload it. And if you are one of those parents who does not have a reasonable counterpart and you are deathly afraid of your child contracting this deadly virus, having to fulfill an obligation for shared parenting or visitation, whatever the case may be, I highly encourage you to sign this petition. Let's get it to where it needs to be so that some change can be made. Because it's not fair to the kids to have to suffer. A, because our government was not prepared with provisions for parents like us. And B, because their parents can't get it together for them. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to email me, micaela.thomas10@yahoo.com. That's micaela.thomas10@yahoo.com. I won't give out my number. I don't want y'all blowing me up. But definitely hit me up. This doesn't just start with the kids. It starts with us too. So with that being said, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe. If you're watching this on any other social media platform, please share. If you know somebody that knows somebody, family member, friend, stranger, coworker, however, whoever, whatever, get it out there. This is, just one of the many changes that need to be made amongst this virus hitting home. It hit home, y'all. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Peace.